Dream 227, Jesus and the Battlefield of the Heart received Sunday, December 4, 2016. This dream began on Wednesday, November 30, 2016, shortly after we received our first snowfall. Around 10 inches of snow fell, resulting in a snow day, no school, for our children. More snow fell on Thursday, resulting in a second snow day in a row. As the writing of this dream spanned over a 5-day period, some dates were added to the below in order to ease the tracking of these event dates. Communion. Dear Father, thank you for another day. Thank you for our home, my family and my friends. Although we have no power today, Wednesday, November 30, 2016, along with thousands of others, our home is safe and, so far, we are able to keep warm. Our source of heat will be blankets and the fireplace. Our source for cooking will be the barbecue. While the first day of an outage can be exciting for our household, according to local news, we are expecting that we could be without power for days. To make matters even more unpredictable, another snowstorm is expected for tonight, Wednesday, November 30, 2016, at around 11 p.m. This next snowstorm is predicted to be much worse than our first round from last night. While the schools here anticipated their closures yesterday, we were not expected to lose power. Father, please have mercy on all of us who live in the country and restore our power, along with all of those living in the suburbs as well. We are expected to be last for repair, so perhaps we can be repaired first instead? After all, the first shall be last and last shall be first, right, Smiles? I should mention that something happened to me 2 days ago on Monday, November 28, 2016, at around 4 p.m. in the afternoon. The sun was already low in the sky when I heard the Lord say, "The time is now, Erin." After he repeated these words a second time, I suddenly felt my heart start to beat faster. As this happened, I then saw something I cannot fully explain, as I really do not understand it enough to really describe it. While the sun was facing to the south edge of a particular building, I found myself looking at the side of this building due to the reddish color massive brick wall glowing in an unusual way from the sunlight's angle. As I continued to stare at the bricks, I started to see something that caused me to rub my eyes and wonder. The bricks suddenly appeared as if they were living and seemed to breathe as they moved. As the sun continued to shimmer on these moving bricks, they soon stopped their movement. However, just before the bricks stopped moving, I had asked my kids in the car if they were witnessing what I was. They then all looked at the brick wall closely to see if they could see what I was seeing as well, but they could not. At first, one of my kids seemed concerned about me and, admittedly, perhaps justifiably so, Smiles. While I was perplexed by this, for some reason I was not distraught. "Daughter, Mom, you seem kind of bothered right now. Are you okay?" Me, "Yes. I just had a feeling, is all." "Father, I just know something happened here, but I am not sure what it was or what it meant. Please help me to understand." As I wrote these words, I suddenly remembered that, on the nights of Sunday, November 27, 2016 and Monday, November 28, 2016, I had a few short dreams that I had woke up suddenly from. 2 of these dreams had involved massive angels from heaven speaking to me with instructions. However, when I awoke, I could not recall what these angels had said to me. However, I also somehow knew that this lack of recollection of their words seemed to be for some divine purpose. I felt in my spirit that it was because I was not to know what was said quite yet. What seemed unusual about this to me was that I usually remember things clearly whenever I am woke up suddenly from a dream, but not this particular time. Our first snowfall began to fall yesterday at around 9 p.m. Tuesday, November 29, 2016, about 3 hours later than the weather forecast had indicated that it would. The flakes were very large and heavy accumulations quickly became evident. At around 3:25 a.m. on early Wednesday morning, November 30, 2016, I was awakened by a bright flash of light. I quickly got out of bed and looked outside to investigate, but everything seemed fine to me. However, as I walked into another room to investigate from a different angle, another massive flash of light illuminated the entire sky, along with the snow and the trees. I checked the time again and noticed that it was only a minute after the first flash, or 3:26 a.m. I stopped to listen for thunder, but could not hear any. However, I was not overly surprised at the lack of thunder as I somehow already knew that these lights were not from lightning. Quite simply, the type of light that I had just witnessed was unlike that of any lightning strike I have ever seen, either in person or on television. After I got back into bed and started to pray on this, I decided to wake up my husband to let him know what had just happened. He seemed completely out of it at first as he was still half asleep, but then the odd light flashed brightly in the sky again. This woke him up fully and he instantly jumped up and pulled the blinds up all of the way. As we continued to look outside at the sky intently, the flash came yet again and we both noticed that it was an odd bluish light. Each time this flash came, the lights in our home flickered, but then quickly came back on. We both realized that this was supernatural and debated waking up the kids but decided not to and went back to bed. As we no longer felt like sleeping, we kept watching out our window. By 4 a.m., we experienced 2 more of these awe-inspiring flashes. Father, I need your help to understand what happened last night with all of this. The magnitude of your power, Father, is beyond men, as these were no normal flashes. Even though I continued to be awestruck by your show of power, I eventually decided to close my eyes to get some more rest. My dream later that night was remarkable, but I awoke suddenly at around 7:20 a.m. to find that our power had gone out. I also found myself sore from tensing up during the night and that my muscles now ached. On this morning, Wednesday, November 30, 2016, Jeff had spent several hours digging our car out so that he could get to work. While school was canceled, his place of employment was still operating. However, the snow was extremely heavy and he was exhausted after he was done shoveling. As I wrote this, my eldest son came over to talk to me. With asking him, he told me that he and my other eldest son were also up and had witnessed the light phenomena from their rooms, both at the same time. While they too thought what they saw was unusual, they assumed it was just a rare winter lightning storm at first. After I finished speaking with him, I decided to take our dogs out for a walk. It was only then that I noticed that the snow was displaying something I had never seen before. The snow looked as if blue Windex had been poured into it. I quickly got my camera and took some photos. The snow around us was somehow colored a glacier blue and was simply spectacular to witness. As they each awoke, the children all witnessed this odd-colored snow as well. D227 Blue Snow Father, this has your name all over it. While I am sure that there could be a scientific explanation for this, I really do not care about that as I just know this is you. You are the beginning of all things and even the roots of science are just a method of discovery, hypothesis and theories that all originate from you. So, to me, this is all you, Father. By the way, I should note that there are no electrical transformer stations near us that could have exploded to cause this massive light. I should also note that I have a lightning tracker app that shows that there had been no lightning in this area at all. Quite simply, this truly was not explainable from either a human or scientific position. As I have now learned, if there is no natural explanation, then it must be supernatural. Father, we were, and are, yet again humbled by your might and power. On another happy note, while this week has yet again brought a new series of attacks, we have also had several amazing victories. As an example of one of these victories, we recently did everything that the Lord had instructed us to do in order to get our youngest daughter out of a horrible school she has been attending. In the natural, we did not think such a transfer would even be possible, as our school district has turned down every single transfer request that has been made this entire year. However, Father, you told us you would go before us into this battle. You then told me in advance that there would soon be a day that my daughter would ask to stay home from school because of the things that had happened at this school. You told us that, once she requested to stay home, she would be removed from this shortly thereafter. While you had told me this a few weeks ago, only me and my husband knew about this and not one of the children. Then, and unexpectedly and completely out of the blue, on Thursday, November 24th, 2016, my daughter asked if she could stay home from school on the next day, Friday, November 25th, 2016. She explained to us that she had been upset about an occurrence at this school. Since she had never asked to miss any school before, had not missed a single day of school this year, and her grades were excellent, I told her that she could stay home, but only if she agreed to clean her room. While my husband had already applied for a transfer to a new school for her a few weeks ago, the principal had warned him by telling him, "Now, let me be direct with you here. We have not allowed anyone in this district to transfer this year. However, feel free to send in a transfer request." He did so, but based on what he was told, we never expected anything to actually come out of this transfer request. Well, and to our great surprise, my husband received an email from the principal of the new school at 1 p.m. on Friday, November 25th, 2016, the very day that my daughter decided not to go to school. This was just as foretold to us by the Lord. The email my husband received indicated that the transfer was approved and congratulated and welcomed our daughter to the new school. Since then, our daughter started at the new school on Monday, November 28, 2016, the day before the first snowfall came, and she could not be happier. As per usual, I had completely forgotten about the word the Lord had given me on this, but, also as per usual, my husband remembered it clearly and had been secretly wondering if this would happen as foretold. When the email came, he immediately phoned me with the great news, and we praised you together for doing this wonderful thing for our daughter in the exact order and timing that you had promised to us. Another personal prophecy was also fulfilled last week. The Lord had told me that I was to give a certain situation to him to allow him to deal with it. This was regarding a certain woman we know that had recently mocked and gloated at my physical limitations. Suddenly, and for no apparent reason, an old injury had suddenly flared up and put this woman on crutches. We found out from a mutual acquaintance that this woman had neither fallen nor had been performing any exercises at the time. Since then, her confinement to crutches has seemed to humble her considerably and somehow even seemed proportional to her extensive bragging about her physical exploits and the great shape she was in. This was interesting, as the Lord had also already informed me of her diabolical motives towards me in speaking as she did. Later on, I soon discovered that one of my cruelest enemies, my main enemy's mother, now has teeth that are twisted and even falling out. I was shocked to find out that her condition is worsening, but for some reason she is refusing to have her rotting teeth repaired. While this neglect seemed shocking to me, I suppose it really is not when I view it from a supernatural perspective as foretold by God to me. Now, since we are not to gloat or take pleasure in another's suffering, even if they are your worst of enemies, I forced myself to give all of this to God in order to allow Him to continue to deal with all of this. However, I must admit that I was given a boost by simply seeing in action that our Father truly sees all, looks after us fully, and that vengeance really is His as long as we fully give to Him whatever is bothering us. In yet another circumstance, I recently found out from my sister-in-law that my birth father might be contacting us soon. She then forwarded an email that she had received from this man, where I found out that this once extremely wealthy man had now been reduced to living in poor conditions and was now begging even his enemies for money. While this father of mine tried to call this temporary loan afloat, we knew that any money lent to him would disappear forever, as he has always been quite the con artist. He has hurt my mother, my brother and me severely in the past, and would think nothing of ripping off anyone he can, and certainly has already with each of us. In the past, this man has never shown any concern with my situation or my special needs boys. He treated me horribly, and even worse than he treated my mom or my brother. It was so bad that my mom had even apologized for her lack of defending me against his behavior towards me prior to her passed away. At that time, I had simply told my mom that I was just thankful that my dad had removed himself completely from our lives, as having him around us would have been even more horrible. After seeing this recent email, I then asked that my sister-in-law and brother not give my dad my current location, as I would rather just pray for him while he is completely removed from us. In my past, this earthly father of mine had even told me that he would contact the hospital to check on me after I told him about my upcoming pacemaker surgery. Not only did he never contact me, he even disconnected his phone, as he truly wanted nothing to do with me. I had never wanted anything from this man other than just be a daughter to him and to just say hello on occasion. However, Father, you have allowed this man to be my earthly dad for good reasons that you have told me about in the past. Just one of many good reasons given was to have me focusing only on you versus someone who is a cruel ghost of a father. While I can never thank you enough for this, I still cannot help, in my heart, to hurt for the fact that he has never known any of us or has even ever cared to. Father, I now pray for mercy on his soul. If there is anything you are requiring of me concerning this, please let me know. In the meantime, I continue to place my dad in your capable hands and pray that you bring him low enough that he might finally know you as only you can save. This man is very cold and clearly has never cared if any of us lived or died. Father, I feel you will do something with so many of us soon. My dreams and visions, both for public and for personal, are now pointing to an upcoming major shift and an earth-shaking change. You are preparing us in a perfect way, and, based on your instructions in even the smallest of matters, I have no reason to believe that I would ever be without your instructions in the larger matters. I cling to your every promise, Father, as you are my Creator and both my earthly and heavenly Dad. There is no Father like you. Jesus, Erin, come up. I was on a path lined with aspen trees. At the end of the path, I saw Jesus bathed in sunlight with a corona of light surrounding him. He was wearing white and his face was incredibly bright. His teeth were white and his eyes were shining in a blue-green color. He stretched his arms out to receive me and I immediately ran right into his arms. Jesus, do not worry, Erin, I have you and I have sent help. Help is on the way. Me, Lord, is Uriel at war right now? I saw him with a blue cast to his wings. Is he fighting in a spiritual war? Jesus, Erin, have you recently seen coldness in the people that surround your family? Me, yes, Lord. Just yesterday, a young man had almost caused us to be in an accident on purpose. He knew he had almost did this, but then he looked at me with such coldness that I could not even believe my eyes. This disturbed me as he had no kindness or thought for our lives. However, I have now noticed the same with others. Even people that I know to be lukewarm Christians are turning out to really be tares. There are now so many that seem cold and unfeeling. Jesus, do not worry. I am about to do something you would not believe even if you were told. Do not fear what you are witnessing. Soon, I will allow even more of the supernatural to be visible in the natural. If I were to show you everything I am about to do in one instant, even your pacemaker could not sustain your heart. He smiled. Without my help. Erin, you are not to fear that which you see. Much of what I have shown you will be revealed. You will even see the angels as you see them in your dreams, but you will be unafraid as I have now prepared you for this. I love you, Erin, and I have plans to strengthen you and not to harm you. Much of the calamity that is over certain regions is there because these are areas with those who are for me. You, Erin, live under one of these areas of open heaven, but this door is just opening. Me, I do not understand? Jesus, you are already under an open heaven, but this has not become a fully active area yet. As a result, what you have been experiencing so far has been dark in comparison to what is soon to come over where you are. Although you have remained and continue to be protected and under my care, you have also been troubled by those in the area surrounding you as this area is an area of dark activity and war. Soon, Erin, will you experience open heavens on earth as it is here in heaven. There are fires in the south, shaking in the central states and extreme weather over other areas where these wars are occurring. Now, this is not to be confused with the wrath coming upon the cursed land. Instead, this is as a result of that which is about to occur for those who love me. I apologize, Lord, but I still do not fully understand all of this. So, are some areas in trouble because of God's wrath while other areas are in trouble because of spiritual wars in the heavenlies that we cannot see, but yet we still can feel? Jesus, correct, Erin. You have experienced difficulty after every storm mostly due to communication, correct? Now, why do you think this is? Is it because communication is a form of widespread distribution of the good news for many ministries and this reach is very far-reaching? Jesus, yes, Erin. Remember that the enemy would like you to be cut off. However, it does not matter where you live as trouble still follows. Every means possible is sent against you to remove any good news. Do not worry though as I have sent help. My ways are even higher than your communication tower and even more than 70 times 7. He smiled and laughed as he spoke this last part to me. Lord, there has definitely been a swarm of trouble coming against everyone in my family. The storms have been epic and I am not just talking about the one which knocked out our power. I feel that these massive blue flashes of light were sent by you, Lord. Even the snow outside our home is blue in areas as well. What happened? Jesus, well, even with evidence, the two oldest boys in your own home at first had difficulty believing these visible events were from me. I sent this to be witnessed by the 4 eldest in your household and you and your witnesses all saw this miraculous event. Then the very next morning, the snow reflected like a mirror this very same blue light that you all saw the night before. Even 2 days after this, the blue snow remains. This should really only be visible through a hole more than 3 feet deep and in pure snow. Science explains this as a cool spectrum light display. He smiled. But your snow is not deep enough for such a display, correct? Yes, Lord. as each small groove is actually barely 3 inches deep. Jesus, now, Erin, your job is not to prove that I am who I am, but instead you are to testify to my heart as I have given you a love story. I have shown you my love, the love illuminated in my written words. My path for you has been a journey of discovering who I am, and anyone who cares to indulge themselves in my love story will be blessed beyond measure. I have been there with you in every defeat, every heartbreak and every loss. I have seen what has been done to you, and even that done in secret. Not only is my recompense with me, but also my retribution. I will not leave you or forsake you. Me, Lord, I am sorry that I am such a battered bride. I am sorry that, at times, when I experience wave after wave of trouble, I act as if I have no faith by whining and complaining, all with extra worry. As I sighed, he reached over under my chin and lifted my head to look into his eyes. Jesus, Erin, you are authentic. You continue to chase after me when the troubles of this world continue to call you away. Your thoughts always come to me in everything you do. So, could I forget you? No. I tell you the truth, your faith is greater than you think, and I am even closer to you because of this. Me, can I say to these mountains, my troubles, go into the sea? Jesus, well, you can, but there is more to this. I have gone before you in each battle as I am with you. At times, it seems that some of your enemies are allowed longer battles, while others are cut down immediately. Why do you think this is? Me, I guess I thought it was because I did not have enough faith. Jesus, no, Erin. I am the one who sees the entire battle from the beginning to the end. If it is to be longer, it is because I am doing a work here. If it is to be shorter, you pray a thing and immediately it is done. Now, sometimes you do not hear about it until the information reaches you, but other times, and before you finish your thoughts, it is done. Just because a mountain falls into the sea instantly while a sandhill remains steadfast and strong, well, when the time comes, that sandhill will be removed in one wind, understand? Or if that mountain remains and sandhill after sandhill is removed, but that one last mountain does not shake, well, this too is divinely orchestrated as its time of removal has not yet come. However, Erin, it is written that, if you have faith as a tiny mustard seed, then you can say to the mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible to you. Me, but, Lord, you control all things, so how can this be, as it is not my will, but your will both on earth as it is in heaven? I have seen you answer my prayers concerning these sandhills, for they are as quickly removed as quickly as they come. However, this one mountain has many peaks and seems quite large to me. In fact, many of my main enemies continue to dwell there on this mountain and even call out to me from their lofty position. Jesus, laughing. Erin, you delight me. When were these words I gave to the disciples? What had been occurring? What event? Me, well, you had been instructing the disciples on faith and driving out demons. Jesus, so, if all of the demons and demonic activity were removed, then would there be continued trouble on that mountain? Me, oh, that is interesting. I thought for a moment. Lord, every amount of trouble has an evil root. Jesus, smiling. This is interesting, as evil roots means bad fruit and not a very good source of feeding. The enemy is in a stronghold and, in terms of war, they have fortified their position. They have created clamor that is meant to frighten all of you. Now you stand in the valley at the base of this mountain and feel vulnerable. However, do not fear, as I will go before you. Me, smiling. Lord, you are wonderful. As you spoke this, the words of Psalm 46 just came into my heart. Jesus, Well, Erin, your heart is an excellent tablet for me to write upon. Well then, it is written that I am your refuge and strength and I will always be found by you in trouble, then do not be afraid. Though the earth shakes and mountains fall into the sea, though the waters rise up and make commotion and the mountains quake with uncertainty, there is a river which delights me and my house. I am in her. He pointed to me as I began to cry. And she will not fall. He motioned as if to stop me from falling over. I will help her when the dawn breaks. He then rested his hand on top of mine and then moved my hand over my heart. I was crying, and even as I wrote this, I have never heard Psalm 46 like this. Now it has even more meaning to me. Thank you, Lord Jesus, this is from my heart, Erin. Though you feel you are in a vulnerable position, you are not. Now, soon you will understand the gifts I am about to give you. Smiling. Do you mean that my worry will soon be gone? Jesus, yes, and all in a single day. However, even though I do these things, you will remain in worry for a time because disbelief and shock are hosts to worry. I do not understand. So, even though I know that you have brought these miracles, does my shock leave me in unbelief? Jesus, no, Erin, as there is a difference between disbelief and unbelief. Unbelief means there is a void. After this event, you are in stunned silence and then wonder if I will remove such favor. Oh, that's a relief. So does this disbelief remains for a time, or a year? Jesus, smiling. The magnitude of what occurs leaves you in wonder, thankfulness, in awe and in fear of God. This is not a bad thing here. Yes, Lord, it would be just like me, since I am human, to wonder if I will be stripped of favor at any given moment. Jesus, okay then, I will lavish you with my presence and displays of such love that you will never doubt again. Then, Lord, remove my doubt, disbelief, shock or worry right now beforehand so that I have faith you will move this mountain. Jesus, it is gone. Now when my recompense is poured out over you, you will no longer doubt I am who I am, as I will fulfill all of my promises. I know I have stated this, but I will remind you again. I will do something in your days that you would not believe even if you were told. Now, there is a dream weighing on your heart. Yes Lord, it is disturbing. Dream description begins. I awoke to a radio alarm clock that was loudly playing the Islamic call to prayer. I tried to turn off the clock, but it would not turn off. I then tried to change the radio station, but every channel had the same thing. I finally unplugged the clock altogether. Shortly after, I heard a knock on the door. Standing there was a college-aged man of Middle East descent holding a clipboard. He was wearing a black and white scarf similar to a prayer shawl. He was well groomed with a white V-neck sweater, colored shirt and slacks. Ahmed, hello, my name is Ahmed. I noticed that you unplugged your radio. I would like to come in and talk to you about our culture and the Prophet Muhammad. Do you know anything about this wonderful prophet? He seemed educated and appeared to be kind. As he discussed this subject with me, he did so in a non-confrontational manner. You are welcome to share your faith, but can I then share mine with you as well? He nodded his agreement and smiled. He stepped inside and sat down at a small table that had 2 chairs overlooking a peaceful harbor. I do not know where this was, but it seemed like somewhere in Europe based on the electrical outlets and the language I did not recognize being on various signs. Now, I would normally never answer the door to a stranger, especially to a male stranger in a foreign land. I would also normally never allow someone, especially a man, to enter my hotel room. However, This was not made to be an issue or concern for either of us in this particular dream. Once Ahmed sat down at the table, he began organizing his papers in front of me on the table. "Ahmed, after I talk to you and we are done, I have a piece of paper for you to sign. It is just to state that I have given you this information. Do you mind if I take notes?" Me, "No, it's fine." While I was unafraid of Ahmed, I was also aware that he could turn angry at some point, so I remained on guard. "Ahmed, now, I understand you have turned off the prayer service. Please explain why." Me, "Like any alarm clock, it woke me up. Since I was then awake, I no longer needed the wake-up service." I instantly knew that my answer had been given to me by the Holy Spirit. "Ahmed, so you then unplugged the radio?" Me, "Yes." "Ahmed, but this also then unplugged the clock at the same time. How will you know what time it is?" Me, "I rely on God and my watch for time." "Ahmed, yes, tell me of your God?" Me, "Well, there is not enough time to tell you everything, but I am in town to speak about God as I have written books about the dreams and visions God has given me." Ahmed, "Interesting. So, God speaks to you and you find the call to prayer blasphemous to your God." Me, "I did not say this, but, yes, God forbids me to entertain those who run after the God of this world. He is my Father, my strong tower, my Prince of Peace, my Emmanuel, my kinsman Redeemer, my Savior, my joy, my love and my everlasting hope. He is the only God." Ahmed, he was angry at my response. "Tell me what God has told you while you slept last night." Me, "He showed me the destruction of many by a great earthquake and, even then, there is no fear of God. So He then sends punishing heat with no water for relief, but still there is no fear of God. He then sends winds, which turn visibility into blindness, and then He rains down cinders of fire, yet still they do not hear the voice of God. Instead of humility, they wage war. Then in a breath, a moment, the fire comes in a massive wave and it is finished." This young man now became furious as he somehow knew that this message had indeed been sent by God Himself. "Ahmed, yes, but Allah is even more powerful than your God. Now, I too had a dream last night. Are you prepared for what you will hear? Write this plain, writer, for perhaps you can give me the meaning of this." Me, "Okay, go ahead." "Ahmed, there is an area." He paused to pull out a map. "Here, let me show you. Maybe you can't tell me what this means." The first map was of Europe, D227. Pick one. "Ahmed, here, come a little closer. Can you see it?" In my dreams, a great flame and smoke came over the area. He then showed me a different map of Europe, D227. Pick two. "Ahmed, there were 3 crosses and one little cross. The little cross rose up and destroyed the 3 crosses. There was nothing left and only Allah remained." Yes, and every bit of salvation came from the little cross. Meanwhile, Allah saved so many. Now, are you ready to hear my next dream? I said nothing, but simply nodded yes. "Ahmed, look here." I then saw a map of the Middle East. Everything was green, red and black, with some white, all surrounding Israel. Israel was blue and white with the Star of David. The star was set as a target. I saw symbols of a massive green nation to the southeast with a sword pointed at tiny Israel. I saw something to the east like a red dragon ready to spread its wings to fly. I saw another nation to the northeast and it had something like a leopard or lion ready, watching and waiting to pounce. However, it was broken in the middle and in 2 sections. D227. Pick 3. Over Israel to the north were the crescent moon and eastern star. Down below that and north were 2 eyes with green stars. It looked envious of the land of Israel. Ahmed then pointed to 3 crescent moons, each with an eastern star. D227 Pick 4. One was black and white to the southwest, one was green and white to the east, and another was red and white to the north. He then drew lines in black, all converging into Israel, the target. Ahmed, in my dream, this stain is removed, but even more. What is the meaning? He was clearly studying me intently as I answered. Me, interesting dream. I agree with what you have shown me in your dream, but there is more to this. God will set up his throne here. I pointed to Jerusalem. And all will bow down to him. It is written. As I said this, I knew that he wanted me dead. Ahmed, oh, so we are in agreement. Very good, very good. I will send someone to fix your time on the clock. We will plug it back in, of course. Now, if you would please sign this paper. Just as I awoke from this, I saw that it was a declaration to serve his God. Dream description over. Me, Lord, this was an awful dream. Jesus, I know, Erin, but time has accelerated and things are soon to change. There will be a time when the world caters to another people. They are not a peaceful people, but their platform is peace. The deception is evident as the world adjusts. Me, it makes my stomach sick. You are considered the opposite of Savior to these people. Jesus, I am the opposite of Savior to those who do not recognize me as their Savior. This is written and I know them not. The enemy plots and plans, and these are vast. Things done in secret are never out of my view, and all deeds of the wicked are duly recorded. One day, they will kneel before the throne and will be judged accordingly. There will be records and a fair trial, and even those who recognize their guilt will be fully satisfied with a just verdict. Me, how will they be satisfied? Will they not moan, groan and wail at the outcome of their trials? Jesus, yes. This you have seen when they have heard your name on the heavenly case docket being called. Why would that be? What do you remember? Me, well, from what I know of, which is only a small fraction, before the throne of God there can be nothing hidden, nothing unconfessed, and nothing contrary to the holiness of God. Even the cells in my body bowed down before God as if each cell knew the magnitude of God's power, and as if my cells did not obey my mind. There, my mind had no power, and, if there be anything contrary to the holiness of God, then my lips confess truth. Truth convicts a guilty man. I just pray that I confess anything I have which I have not confessed to God, to you, Lord. If there be anything more in me, then, please, Lord, I want to confess anything else so that I stand before God in humility and reverence. Jesus, smiling. I see nothing, no thing, left uncovered. You have confessed numerous times to various infractions, even those in which I have already forgiven you for. Just in case, you confess them again at the throne of God and His courts. I have stood as your attorney and advocate many times against your accuser, as he is relentless. Me, I am sorry, Lord, but I would rather make sure at the end of the day that I am reconciled. My heart hurts when I offend someone or if I do something contrary to the fruits of the Spirit. I just want to be blameless before you. Jesus, I know your heart. You are not hiding deceit in your chambers. Though your enemies accuse you of many things, you do not serve them, but must only answer to me and serve me. Erin, you are hated because you are testifying to my love letter. My love is available to all those who seek me with their whole heart, yet they build up barriers and walls. Although I build a rampart, I will not breach the walls of a man's heart, his city, unless I am invited in. I desire to be an invited guest. Once invited, I will then overcome the heart with so much love that the walls will come down. Me, Lord, I saw the visual of something like Jericho as you just said this. So, first you send out angels, or spies, to examine where we are in our lives and to see if we are ready for more. Then I see marching around the city once a day for 7 days. However, on the seventh day, the people marched 7 times in one day and, with horns, shofars and shouting, the walls of the city fell. The people then invaded and removed the enemy. So, you surround us and circle us and then even intensify this in hopes of eventually breaking down our walls and invading our hearts to the point where there is no unclean thing left. Jesus, there will be those who will dwell on the effects upon the people slain inside the city and pay no attention to what the miracle of God is here. Let us instead focus our attention on your life and heart. The enemy enjoys playing victim and does not like attention being drawn to his guilt, but only yours. If I look at your heart, angels could also be like spies, even though they are good workers, helpers and messengers sent by my command. Since I see the beginning from the end, angels do not surprise me with new information nor do they surprise my Father. This is like a parable as each time around your heart could be 7 years. On the 7th year, you experienced 7 times more of me. He smiled. Your walls were easy to breach as your chambers of your heart were accessible. Anything left contrary to my love was removed and the enemies were slaughtered. Now the enemy is outside the gates of your heart. I have completely invaded the city of your heart and now dwell there in your heart. But, Lord, I accepted you into my heart years before this. Jesus, correct. You allowed me to dwell in your city, but there were other occupants there as well. I was not at war with them, but they demanded that I be removed. So, at times, I was in relative silence due to their shouting and clamor. It took a very long time before you recognized that the things of this world were competing with me for a place in your heart. You are right, Lord. My cares, worries and daily troubles rose up and kept you silent to me. I am sorry for that, but, Lord, I still do this. I still worry and I still have trouble. Jesus, yes. But this is different as now these troubles do not dwell in your heart. They are outside and do not make you forget me or call out to you to act alone. You now call out to me in everything you do. I am now the city in your heart and your occupant. Now, you have others who dwell in your heart as well, your loved ones, and this is true and good, but I am here with you. Crying. I understand, Lord. Jesus, now, I just took you on a journey of how I call out to those I have chosen. Your dream was about those who have a different dweller in their heart. Their city gates are sealed and their walls are well fortified. The enemy dwells there and plots. Though I am outside of their gates, their cities are made of glass and their deeds are visible from the throne as my Father sees all that is under him. What was shown to you on this map is true. Even though the enemy schemes, nothing is done in which I am unaware. Is there anything I should do with this information? Jesus, no. This time is soon to come. You cannot reverse this nor would anyone pay attention to what you write unless that very thing comes to pass after the fact. This is my battle and you are to testify to my love. The plots of the enemy are notable and follow a pattern. They too circle a city or country and create clamor. They pray over their loudspeakers in reverence to their God as if making noise will somehow bind the strength of this God on their hearts. Instead, their hearts grow colder, blacker and void of all love. Be careful as the very message of peace leads to the destruction of those with peace as a mantle. It is easy to call out lovely things as weapons, the idea of fruits, but it is another thing to partake in the fruit by eating that which you become. The fruits of the Spirit are bitter fruit to the enemy. So what is peace but just a concept of deceit? Partitioning a city does not work when one side's dweller desires the destruction of another. Yes, Lord, this does not work, and I have witnessed, experienced, the same thing with my enemy. Whenever I negotiate a fair deal, they still whine, complain, and constantly work against me because their only true goal is my total destruction. Lord, I wish I had never negotiated to begin with. Jesus, I know, Erin, but I have ultimately allowed this for your benefit. Everything meant for evil in your life will be used for good and the good of your children. That mountain is soon to be removed. In one command I can remove it. You will even say, move to this mountain, and it will fall into the sea. This time is at hand. Lord, what is time? All of these calendars, dates, all of it, are so confusing. Lord, why did you allow this? Jesus, Erin, does the clock and calendar from God's house seem out of God's control? Is it not guarded by 4 angels and under the care of heaven? Yes, Lord, it is precise. There are many rings and wheels, and all but one turns according to each other. The one exception is not turned by cogs at all, but only by God and at His speed, Godspeed. Jesus, smiling and laughing. It seems to you as if I am constantly deflecting your questions on time, and I am. Now, why do you need these answers, as no good can come from this? If I tell you a date, what will happen to you prior to this? You will first make yourself sick, as you will have no peace. Or you will anticipate events to happen a certain way, a certain intensity, or even with a certain result, but, as you know from your own experience, you will still be in unrest. Erin, my ways are higher than yours, and only God, my Father on the throne, knows the time of my coming. His ways are higher, as He knows when He will send me. Even if I were to give you times, the world would discount them. There would even be arguments amongst you, and nothing good would come out of this. Even Enoch is called by the world as the father of time, yet who follows his calendar? The time of my ministry was 3.5 years. This time lined up with every calendar written, even Enoch's, yet still no one took notice until long after. Even then it did not matter to man. Erin, you live here in the times of great turmoil, and the times as prophesied about thousands of years ago. For it is even written that Enoch, the 7th from Adam, prophesied, saying, Behold, the Lord comes with 10,000s of His holy ones. Jude 14. I am sorry, Lord, but something is happening to me right now, and I do not know how to describe it. It is a searing heat in my heart. I am experiencing emotions from memories from the year 2000. It is as if I have experienced a type of time hiccup. My dreams are reflecting the ages of my sons at that time. My one son was 14 months old, and my other son was not quite 3 years old. It was near the time of my mom's diagnosis of cancer. The time has been brought to the forefront of all my thoughts and dreams. Why is this happening? Jesus, this was the time of your very first vision, and was in the first month of that year after you had fasted and prayed for 21 days. Then something happened the next month, and you took no food or water for 3 days. You were then caught up in the vision and told that you needed to die to yourself. You were in awe and began your separation from the things of this world. During this time, the enemy recognized that you had awakened from slumber and was called for service to me. He sought your destruction as a result. He soon after relentlessly came against your businesses, your failing marriage, your sons, your family, your friends, and your health. However, he was also granted permission to do this, as you needed to fully rely on me and had to die to yourself. I know that this was painfully long as I was with you. Even though at times I seemed silent, I was there. As I began to cry, Jesus lifted my chin to look into his eyes again. Jesus, Erin, you have stood the test of time. You have stood the test against your enemies. Now you stand before me in love, even though you are battered. Although you are disheartened and downcast, I am here and I am with you. I have seen all that has occurred and my recompense is with me. Me, Lord, I had a dream of a beautiful mountain and a downpour of rain. The sun appeared behind me and shone down on what looked like a golf course cut into this mountain. The course was impossible to play, but it was beautiful. Then, and as I stood staring at the beautiful sight, from behind and over the mountain, I saw black clouds like smoke sweep over the sky. I could see glimpses of red light, a red ball like the moon or sun, but I could not tell which as the clouds were so thick. I could only see glimmers of the red ball when these clouds, or smoke, thinned. In my dream, I was not terrified for myself or for our household, but was afraid for those not ready. Jesus, he smiled at me with a reassuring smile. Erin, it is darkest before the dawn, but to many it is also beautiful and carefree prior to that great and terrible day. Perhaps they were even golfing, but this does not matter. It only matters that I know the times and seasons. You are to continue on your course and rejoice as things for you are accelerating. I am here. He placed his hand over my hand and then over my heart. Jesus, it has been a long and difficult journey, but I have not forgotten you. I have also not forgotten that which has been done unto you and your children. My recompense is with me. I love you. Me, I feel something is changing, Lord. I love you too. Jesus, then do not worry or be afraid. All things work for the good of those who love me and have been called according to my purpose. For those I have chosen, I have also predestined. I love you and you are mine. As he smiled, he lit up as bright as the sun. Dream over. Note on the red ball that Erin saw in this dream, just to confirm, the red ball that Erin saw was either the moon or the sun, but Erin simply could not tell which. There is no hidden message in this. This is not a hidden reference to Nibiru in any way, shape or form. Erin has never even received the slightest hint of Nibiru. Even though Erin has been criticized before about not talking about Nibiru in her dreams, this is unwarranted as she only talks about what God has shown her and Nibiru is not one of those things. Now, would a large planet with wings hiding and then suddenly sneak attacking the Earth not be mentioned somewhere in the Bible? Some may say that this is just too catastrophic to mention. I disagree as just look at all the other stuff the Lord brings up in the Bible, including the previous flooding and eventual burning of the entire earth. He is not going to be shy about this. That being said, should the Nibiru status change in the future in Erin's dreams from the Lord, you will all be amongst the first to know. Trust that God would reveal something this huge to Erin if it is going to become an issue or sign to us soon.